so much information out there that is influencing the way people think, the way people respond to questions.
As an HR person, you need to find a way to bring all learners together.
From by the time they got into the interview, the CV looked amazing, right? And then you start having this conversation.
I did this project for you on WhatsApp. Let me know. In my age, I want an email.
That innovation saying, yes, AI is quick, but don't lose
your brain.
So we're talking about age.
Yes.
Is it just a number? So both of you are in, you're doing HR roles. You're in the workplace. You're a global recruitment, person. You're the head of people and culture. So you have to sort of merge different age groups, should I say?
Yes.
I might not have my facts correctly, but I think I read somewhere that right now in Uganda, about 23% of the population is Gen Zs. But in the employment world, 23% of it is now made up of
Gen Z.
Gen Z. So there's a lot of mix in there. So I think I'll start with you, Debbie. When you think about age in the workplace, is it just a number? What does it entail? What are the things? Okay, let me not ask you many questions. Let's first talk about age alone in the workplace. What's happening?
So in the workplace, for what I would like to maybe put across is that we are dealing in a mixture of ages at the moment. You've said there are Gen Zs, there are Gen Alphas, there's Millennials, Gen X, and all that. But the word age is just a number. I think we have used it to try to dismiss the generation of barriers, so that we can work together. So for now, in most organizations, we are totally in the mix, but the Gen Z is growing. And most of the time, the Gen X's and the Millennials, you find that we are the ones who are getting out to start our own businesses, to do consultancy, and to make sure that we mentor. Yes. But it's also important to understand that this age thing is just a number. It does not bring a lot of barriers, because for me, in my space, I think there's a lot of blend that happens a lot. That the generation, what we call Gen Zs now, are full of passion, drive. They have energy, but they have grown up in a situation where they ask a lot of questions. And then what the old people, the millennials, or the Gen X's, we bring organization history, we bring memories, we bring experience, we bring leadership. And so we need to find a way to merge the two so that we can coexist. So age is just used to dismiss what it should not be something that should be bringing us problems. And yet it is there in the organization. In reality, it exists. But how do we work together to make sure that we are still coexisting? Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
Let me hear your thoughts.
I want to definitely agree that age is just a number. But also there is a whole different side to it, that as much as it is just a number, that all these different age brackets have experienced life differently. And their approach to work, their approach to life, the way they see things, the way the world is shaping individuals, it is causing us to have conflict within even the workspace of, millennials expect work should be done a certain way. Gen Zs don't expect that kind of pressure, work-life balance. I understand what I'm doing. You have to give me a break. And so I think it's definitely impacting us in many ways, more than one. Even outside of the workplace, nowadays we have questions of, can a young person date someone who is older than them? And these different questions that keep coming up while people are experiencing and doing life. Debbie has mentioned that young people are asking a lot of questions. And these many questions are unearthing a lot of issues and a lot of things that ordinarily people used to just carry along. This is how it was done by my parents, or this is what I saw my uncle doing, and I carry that on. But now people are like, why should I do that? Why shouldn't I find my own thing? Why shouldn't I discover things my own way? And so those questions are grooming a certain completely different race of individuals. So yes, age is just a number, but also it is playing a crucial role in the kind of people that we forecast in the workspace, the kind of people that we forecast to marry our sons and daughters. And it is making an impact out there silently. Yes.
Very true.
You know, when you say that, I'm reminded of, because I'm a millennial, and just 5 years ago, maybe 6, in the workplace, the millennials were the it. The MDs would come and say, we need young people, we need young people. And it's people who are a certain age group. Now that it's 6 years later, they're coming to, we the young people, they need it. Like, we need young people, we need young people. But I'm here, you get. And they're like, no, we actually need
the young people.
And you said something that triggered a thought in my mind. You mentioned something about conflict.
Yes.
And recently, I think I was seeing on Twitter, one of the Gen Zs who works in a certain company posted how his boss was calling him.
Yes.
And he's like, you can't call me, I'm
Past
not that
working
important,
hours.
something like that. So there's a lot of conflict based on experiences and worldview and everything. So, Debbie, what I want to ask you is, we have the baby bloomers, the older generation, the Gen X, the millennials, and now the Gen Zs. What changes along the way? That's what I want to understand before we even go into different factors. Because if my father is a baby bloomer, if I'm a millennial and my child is a Gen Z, why is there a change? Because you're raised by the same person, so to speak. So why is it that if I see a tweet like the tweet I've given you, I'm shocked. I'm like, but we're from the same line. So where does it get lost? Yeah.
Okay, so change is a constant. Our parents used to work 8 to 5, but they used to go home for lunch. Did you notice that?
Yes.
That they used to go home for lunch, and then they come back to work, and then at 4:30, they would go home straight for evening tea. Then they gave birth to us. Then we became people who worked and never even had lunch. I just want to give that example. So we became people who were so passionate in wanting to achieve, but there are a lot of dynamics that happened there. One, you could not drive to go for lunch because of traffic. These people used to have staff quarters. Now, Mutsi lives in Kenya. I live on the other side. There's a lot of traffic. So those are the changes that we don't see. And then there used to be a lot of, there were few people in an organization. You could count and say this organization has this kind of people. But now we have so many. The labor market is big. So there are so many things that change. And because of that, a lot of things also change, the way we do processes. You must understand. Nowadays, we make sure that we have flexi time. Somebody can work from home. Those things were not there. And I remember when, before COVID, I think, when we tried to say that people can work from home. And I was working for this organization, which was an NGO. And they said it is impossible for that to happen. When COVID came, that is true that it was impossible for field people to work from home, but most of the people had to go home. Bankers went home. Would you be understanding that now you can withdraw your own money from the phone, from actually your account to your mobile number, and then you don't need to go to the bank. So change is a constant. There are so many changes, the way the business is done, the way we think these days, the way the world is moving, it's all, and it's impacting on different generations. And so that also causes creativity, first of all, we have to think outside the box. And as leaders, that is very important for us. 2, innovation of how we should do these things. But also to make sure that we understand ourselves for now, not for what happened in that time. Now, when you look at those tweets, that person is very entitled. They know their rights. They know and every Gen Z now is very aware about their mental health. They want to go and spend time in Nyege, and you're telling them to come and work. They've put in their
mental health.
Yes, no, but that is how they'll. So all those things create a lot of change, and we need to understand how to deal with them. I enjoy working with Gen Zs. It is one of the things that I am really, really happy about because they drive me crazy. So every day I have to think. You have to think, and they have amazing ways to do this. So change is a constant in every generation, just like the example that I've given you.
So let me first lean in there before I come to you. You talked about the passion that young people have and whatnot. I want you to lean in a little bit on the abilities that come with certain ages. And why I say this, for example, so we're talking about age. Age will come with things like digital era, abilities and whatnot. So just by sitting here, already we can see the different age groups. You have a notepad, I have a notebook, he has nothing. Not because he's not taking notes, but there's a way different age groups, like if you go to my father, for example, he has all his notes written down. So in terms of age, ability that comes with different ages, what are your thoughts in that area? Is it clear?
Yes, thank you, Ruby. I think my thoughts on that matter is that age is not a deterrer of capability. Every age can learn. Let's talk about digital, and that is where we are now. And Mutsi's age people come with so much they want to do this all. They will tell you this is happening. But I think as an HR person, you need to find a way to bring all learners together. There are different ways that Mutsi would like me to communicate to him. He would like to send me a message in the morning and say, I did this project for you on WhatsApp. Let me know.
If it's okay.
In my age, I want an email. In another age, you send an email and walk there. Isn't it? You send an email and then you walk to the desk and say, I've sent you an email. And they say, oh, but I've not seen it. So in that kind of environment that we work, what works better for somebody to understand? Just like somebody saying that somebody who is 50 or 40 cannot understand AI. That is not true, because we cannot be trained. Isn't it? We can have different ways of training. So Mutsi would like to be trained on the spot. These days they want you scan the code, the QR code, and we move on. That's Mutsi. And then there are people you can take to a room, and you take them at their pace, because we are talking about agility and flexibility. So it is that comes with, especially with digital. And I don't think the age thing can deter you from learning, but it all comes to what kind of environment. There's these academies that we put people to learn. There are those ages who still want to go to sit in the hotel. Give them that chance. That's how they network. That's how they interact. There are those who just want you to. I have a group of young people who they call themselves project crackers. So they don't work in the office. They sit in an open place in the terrace. So that's where they go do all these products in the bank. And they don't want to wear suits. They want to come. So they keep telling me, HR, also you tomorrow come in your sneakers and jeans, which I find very, very uncomfortable from Monday to Friday. But you fit in and see how you can learn with them. So that's what I can say about it, that learning and digital is a way to go. and we all can work using emails, using WhatsApp, using Snapchats, using all sorts of things, and you can get work done.
Debbie, you know Snapchat?
Yes, I do.
And TikTok.
Does she use Snapchat?
I don't use Snapchat.
I won't tell them about your co-curricular activity the other than that you do. Okay. So, I want to understand your agency. It's a bit easier for the older generation to lean in to the younger generation because you always have new things. But now for you, you're a global recruitment person. What are some of the challenges you face as an HR practitioner? Because you're younger. You see, like Debbie and maybe myself, we've lived in both. So we know the people who used to go to a hotel for a training. We've experienced that, but we've also experienced you who doesn't do that. We've experienced please find attached and a WhatsApp
message. Yes.
But you've not because you've come in the age where this is phasing out. So what are some of the challenges you find as an individual in recruitment or just generally in being at work?
I've been privileged to work a little bit in diverse environments and with different age brackets of people. There's a period I worked with Google Day TV, and at that time I was working with people, of all sorts of ages. But also I worked for another transport agency which had drivers who were as old as 72 years old, all the way to the transport assistants who were 21, 22 years old. And of course their thought processes are very, very different. And being able to understand how to approach which individual with which tone, with which direction of conversation, I think is where I began having a challenge first of all. But I think with time I've been able to I identify someone from afar and say, okay, probably I need to adjust my tone to this. One of the challenges we have currently being in the digital era and the information age, there's so much information out there that is influencing the way people think, the way people respond to questions, the way people respond to interviews, the way people respond to the life and approaching solutions or approaching problems. And so one of the challenges I've found with my generation when it comes to interviews.
Report them.
Yes, my people. We've carried our slang. We've carried our litness to the interview room.
When you say litness,
yes, our coolness, our youthful vibes, which sometimes unnecessarily hinder us being seen for who we really are. Yes. And so sometimes you're actually in an interview with a young person who by the time they got into the interview, the CV looked amazing, right? And then you start having this conversation with them, because I like to see people comfortable when they're in an interview. So you begin with questions like, tell me about yourself, what do you want to do with your life? And those questions, people have not taken time to internalize them. And they start to bring in this Gen Z attitude towards it, and it's completely, even the way we structure questions nowadays, it's no longer the traditional way of scripting interviews. It's more about getting to know the person intentionally and what are they passionate about. And since there's so much information out there, people have absorbed in so much and don't know how to process it yet. And so it comes off in the way they pause with their posture, in the way they speak back to the interviewer, in the way they approach problems, and it's a very, very serious challenge for me, which I don't often find with people who have been more experienced in the field. These are more intentional people. When you talk to Debbie earlier on, we were chatting, and it's very easy to have a conversation with them. They easily catch on to a direction of conversation, and they are more intentional about approaching questions and how to answer them. They give thought before they answer, which is something we don't do much nowadays. I'll be quick to respond what I think is right, what I think is necessary, or basically what I feel you should hear. Not necessarily because it is what is right, or it is what I don't mind my image. It's a problem that we have nowadays. People don't think about the long-term consequences of how they are being perceived right now, of what they're saying. And I keep telling my friends that wherever you speak, it's like toothpaste coming out of a tube. It's hard to put it back. You know, and we are quick to speak, very, very quick to speak.
That's right.
I mean, interviews, in walks of life, chatting with one another, and we don't think about the impact of, am I being offensive? Am I being intrusive? Am I being subjective? Am I being judgmental? I mean, it's my words. I can say them. I need to say what I feel. You know, deal with it. That's our approach, and it's a very big challenge that often I think needs to be addressed. But coming back to the roots. I mean, the older people, it's a little harder to deal with them, but young people in high school, young people in primary section, these need to be really targeted in helping them understand this kind of way of thought.
So Debbie, you know, thanks for that.
Yes.
Because now she's done us answer this other hard question. I'm really enjoying this. Me, I'm just like, so to pick up on the last point he's just shared about, you know, speaking their mind and whatever. From where you sit, how do you deal with, let's say, this Gen Z?
Yes.
Very top talent, high performer, zero manners. Because they speak their mind, they do whatever, but they're the ones who are bringing in the sales for NCBA.
Yes.
From where you sit, what is the best way to manage such?
Okay, I got a word for Gen Zs. They're active, young, and agile. So they have hot bodies. And you've also realized that many of the Gen Zs, they're impatient. So as a millennial and as a Gen X, whatever it is, we need to be very patient with these people. Because, first of all, I think what Mutsi said, that your span of control, your span of concentration is very limited. It's because of, I think, gadgets. They want to come to the meeting and they want to make sure that the meeting is over. So the best way to deal with them is to have clarity. This is what I want you to do as a project. And this is how we are going to do it. This is the target. And this is the process. This is the support that you're going to be given. And this is the outcome that I want to see. You have to be very clear on that. So that they don't come asking you, and then what, and then what. So as somebody who deals with them, you have to know what is the end goal. Because they'll come and tell you what we'll do. So it is something that you have to really briefly tell them and give them the room to do it. But they also don't want to be what we used to call it policing. No, they micromanage them. They want to be left in their space. So you can even ask them, in all this that we've discussed, how do you want me to be involved? So they say, you'll come in this stage, you will do this and do that. They'll give you results. But if you go the way remember us, we're told to be in office at 8 and then leave at a certain time. So we followed process. We were very good at that. We sat down, did the work. I want my report now, and it will be like that. But these people can tell you, we shall send you the report at midnight. But one thing that I understand about millennials, in their being tardy and impatient.
Gen Z's millennials.
Gen Zs, I mean, they, because of a lot of research, they give a lot of information. But they want you to go through all that information. I remember when the last time I had a talk like this, somebody said they had a millennial that they would circle the wrong words in the report to check whether the person is and it was that we have to be very good with them. So the breakdown, the underlying issue about dealing with Gen Zs, have clarity. and they need to know the end goal. They don't want stories.
Yes.
You know, us, they would just send us and say, you go and do this, go and do this project. They will ask you why. So you need to tell them, this is the reason we are doing this. It is time bound. This is our target issue, and this is the outcome that I want to see.
Yeah.
And they'll become very creative how they do.
You know, one of the things I like about what you're saying is because in this particular episode we're talking about is age just a number. But I like that you're throwing in Gen Zs, Millennials, Gen X. Like, it's not a Gen Z episode.
No.
So that's what I really appreciate.
Yeah.
So I want to understand, and this is a question for both of you, the different generations. At the end of the day, you're all in a workplace, you all come to make money. You get?
Yes.
How do we what's the word I'm looking for?
Interconnect.
Yeah.
Gel them together.
To have a collabo, because if I'm 50 and I'm working with someone who's 25 and another one who's 35, for me, I am 8 to 5, you come at 8. For him, it rained. I sent a message on WhatsApp, but I'm home.
I did my work online.
Yeah, I did my work. I worked till like 2 a.m.
Yes.
The report is there.
Yes.
Then there is the in-between, you know. So how do we integrate that to make sure that there's intergenerational collaboration, for lack of a better way to put it? I'll start with Debbie, then I'll come back.
I think we need to, first of all, understand what is our end goal here. Because you could find a department where a Gen Z is the manager. And now the Gen Z is taking care of the Millennials and the Gen X.
True.
So why are we here? We are in this organization to achieve a goal.
Yes.
It doesn't matter who is the leader and how are we going to work together. So collaboration in ways that you understand what works for my team. And this is where leadership comes in very strongly. You need to understand that John is a very slow person. And for him, you have to give him this for a long time. So you try to understand, and he likes meetings. He likes a face-to-face for me to make sure that we all come together in this department. For example, if you go to a department like operations, operations has a lot of a mixture of people. But you know that for John, he has attention to detail. And for him, his work is really focused on that. So give John to do that attention of detail. The rest of the people can be can be supporting him doing other processes. And for him, he just pays this attention to detail, to the things that you want to achieve in that department. If you understand that Debbie is not good at reading documents. So so John is the one we are going to give the document to make sure that John, please review. So John's work becomes, and it makes him feel so important because he's a reviewer and he's very motivated because his work you're very important, because if you don't review, something else is going to happen. And so the rest, you say, let's patch up the document together.
Yes.
After we finish making this document, before we present it, John will do the final review. So it is for us to understand what is the strength of each person, what can they bring to the table, and then make sure you divide the work according to that. So that, one, we benefit from engagement, everybody is engaged, the productivity is known, and everybody feels respected. You know, for us, the people who are millennials, Gen X, we want to be respected.
Yes.
We like that a lot. So for us, we want to feel important. Give us that chance.
Yes.
Yeah. We still want to be called Madame Deborah,
Yeah.
which I don't like because I'm not a headmistress. But some people like it.
Yes.
Yeah. But now there's this young guy who comes to my office and says, hey, Debs.
Yeah.
It's also okay.
Debbie.
Yeah,
Yes.
Debbie Debs. It's also okay.
Yeah.
I can't take it and say that, oh, I must be called because I'm wearing a suit. So those are the things that I would put across. Yeah.
You mentioned something about leadership. At the end of the day, the leader needs to, because no one is going to bring you employees and be like, this is a Gen Z, this is a millennial, this is like you need to look at your people and understand them and how they work, because there are millennials who work like Gen Zs, by the way.
Oh, yes.
Then there are Gen Zs who work like older people.
Yes.
Also, it goes to do with upbringing. But one of the things that is important in anyone's leadership journey is mentoring, mentorship. I don't know if you've heard of something called reverse mentorship.
Reverse mentorship.
Yes.
Not quite. So I've not expounded on it.
You're not expounded.
Yes, yes.
So reverse mentorship is where ideally Debbie is your mentor. She's
Okay.
quite older than you.
Yes.
But reverse mentorship is where
You
mentor.
become
Okay.
a
in a particular
Yes.
So I
Yes.
don't know who of you would want to speak about reverse mentorship.
I think I could you allow me to?
Yes, please go.
Particularly of late, I've been interested in some new softwares that are applied to the workspace, and even of late, I've been thinking about myself becoming an AI workplace integration consultant, and I have learned how to ease a lot of work processes through applying some of these softwares and systems into the day-to-day workplace. If it's word processing, there are softwares that you just tap on and it revises every single sentence that you've done. And so I would see myself definitely seated on a table sharing with Debbie, there's this new tool, I think you should try it out, or this is something that we could integrate into our systems or our company or organization. It could work really well because that is information that I am is new, but also information that I've taken time to learn, and probably she might not be privy to that kind of information. We recently even found a sales tool that allows me to capture people's contact information that I've not even talked to, and someone will be like, that is new, that is fresh, and being able to integrate that. But I want to say, in terms of reverse mentorship, I want to bring it in a different perspective.
Yes.
As a young person who is looking towards marriage, there's this conversation we have nowadays, but the lady is probably 31, the gentleman is 28, he is 27, but they can't match well. And then now for me, it has been coming back to the point of maturity, mental maturity.
Yes.
That you could find a 27-year-old young man whose thinking capacity and mental maturity is far more advanced than a 38 or 40-year-old gentleman, right? In terms of how they perceive life, aggressiveness, the pursuits that they are chasing, and also in terms of how they view relationships, how should a lady be treated, and there's a whole divide. And it is vice versa as well, that there are very many gentlemen who are 45 and their thinking capacity and level is way more matured. So I would like to say it comes back to understanding a person case basis, that all these individuals have been influenced by different backgrounds that have pushed them to think the way they do, that have pushed them to become the person that they are today. I'm drawn to people who have gone through. Yesterday I was listening to Mr. Bossa Ronald speaking at an event, and he was talking about his hard past and how his hard past shaped him to be the man that he is today, and forced him to become much older than his age, right? And probably you find someone else has had a soft landing through life, and they don't have purpose and reason to push themselves into a world of discovering, a world of questioning themselves, a world of finding their true purpose. And so it comes back to the place of reverse mentorship, that probably I might be much younger, but I have been through things that have caused me to learn a lot about life, that have made me mature much faster, or probably I've been surrounded by people who have been pumping so much knowledge and so much mentorship. For me, I've been privileged that for my age, I had a good presence of people around me who constantly told me, this is what a man should be like, this is how you should address life, pursue this is the right way to go, pursue God, the things of God, etc. And I think it helped me overcome university challenges, my first years of work, and I feel I'm much older. So when you ask some of the questions about those ancient, I know some Marilyn Monroe music, and I feel much older than my age. So I could sit on a table and have a conversation with someone who is twice my age, and it would be a comfortable conversation.
Awesome.
Yes.
You see, one of the things that you've said what I'm hearing from you is one, age is just a number.
Yes.
Because at the end of the day, it's about character, upbringing.
Yes.
There's a story people like to tell that they met two brothers, and one was a drunkard and one wasn't a drunkard.
Yeah.
So when they asked this one who's a drunkard, why are you a drunkard? He said, because my dad used to drink.
Mm.
Then they asked the other, and how come you're not a drunkard? He's like, because my dad used to drink.
Yes.
Mm.
So same experience, but
Yeah.
it has
Perceptions are different.
So same age group,
Yeah.
but different whatever. Do you want to lean into reverse?
Yes, that reverse mentoring is really something that happens a lot now. With let's talk about the workplace and all this digital era that where we are.
Yeah.
So it could be, for example, a young marketing digital person who says that I'm good in doing creatives. I remember at one time a young lady told me, I need to bump up your LinkedIn. Yeah, because it's not a place that
True.
I have a LinkedIn account, but it's there. But she came, actually, she was from an audit firm who came to audit me. And she said, before I came to audit you, I went to your LinkedIn. And she came and said, I would like to bump up your LinkedIn profile. And I said, so tell me about it. And she said, I need to do this so that, because you're a very, very important person and all this, you have done so much.
Yes.
Yeah, because they asked for your file and they read your CV. And I told her, okay, we'll think about it. Yeah, but because you get busy and all this, I really didn't take it seriously. And sometimes people say, hey, Debbie, your LinkedIn is good like this. However, when a young person is doing reverse mentoring, what am I doing for that person? When a young person comes and they're doing all this, am I teaching them strategy? Am I teaching them to think about the business? Am I teaching them to become the future leader? So what happens in organizations, what we should be doing as millennials and Gen X is that interest these young ones to understand the bigger picture, because they are for today. But if you they help them to look at the bigger picture. So you could say, I used to have a young person in my department, and I told Philip, you're going to do my board papers. Because he knew how to make them beautiful. And I would throw back and say, but you've done that slide. Put your thinking into it. If you were so and so going to present this to the board, what would you say in that section? So they would go and do all this research and say, me, I would say this, I would analyze this. I am growing a future leader, isn't it? He's making my papers look beautiful,
yes.
And he's mentoring me in digital things, but I'm also helping him to understand. So I've opened to him about business, about the strategy of the organization, and it makes them come back with a lot of innovation.
Yes.
When I was doing this paper for so and so, why can't we do this? So it sort of becomes a collaboration. They're helping you with digital to grow your digital. You're also showing them the other side, and so that is reverse mentoring that is very good for us. But we have also been known to not to be very ready to do this for the young people. We live in fear. So you want to be the only one who knows. And that is a danger.
Losing relevance.
Yes. That is a danger. I normally tell people that I would love to write in my CV how many people I have grown into leaders who have gone through my hands and have done so well in organizations. That is what I want to tell in my CV now. I don't need to tell you I have this masters alone. I need to tell you that I grew leaders in the country. But how do you do that? You become vulnerable.
Yes.
So reverse mentoring can only be beneficial when both of us are vulnerable.
Yes.
But for us to be vulnerable, you must be trusted. Isn't it?
Yes.
So it's you have to show that you can trust me. And I can trust you. You allow the young people to make mistakes. The young people will laugh and say, Debbie, but your presentation is like this. It's okay. It's all right. How do I make it better?
Yes.
So if we're vulnerable and we are trusted, then reverse mentorship.
And that is something that is built. Trust is built over time.
Over time.
Thank you so much.
I think I'm feeling guilty here. Might have been the one who stole Philip from her.
Those ones, you shall take them offline. One of the things that you've said reminded me, I had a mentor, you know her, the late Martha Moore. One of the things she used to tell me a lot was, Ruby, put on your thinking hat. Because at the time, when she was mentoring me, when she was still alive, I was like the younger one. You get, like, it's many years ago. So she told me, put on your thing, because she told me, go print this thing, whatever, and then I would print it and whatnot. So when you talk about reverse mentoring and the opportunity for you to give your team to be innovative and think, the thing millennials struggle with and the older generation is because we are tuned to do things the way they are told.
Yes.
So they'll tell you, do this thing, you may not think. But in the digital era, Debbie, one of the things I struggle with, and I want to hear your thoughts, is because everything is quick, chat GPT, whatever, it's sort of removing thought process.
True.
I'll give you an example. Recently, we had an intern at my workplace, and I needed him to copy for me something. So I'd written notes, but I was like, it's taking so much time to just copy. So I told him, since you're free, here are the notes, please copy for me. And he came back in 30 minutes. And I'm like, you're done? He's like, yeah, I just used my phone, scanned, put it on, no, what app?
Yes.
Like something, and then it appeared in the thing. So right now you're having a lot of young people saying, let's say you're doing a project, your project crackers. Project crackers.
Yes.
The project is on how to grow sales, I don't know where. Then they'll get it on ChatGPT and give it to you without thinking. Speak into that a bit. Like, how can we encourage that innovation? Saying, yes, AI is quick, but don't lose your brain.
Your brain.
Yeah.
If you lose the brain, you lose everything in your life. Yeah, that's what they said this morning, isn't it?
Yeah.
That the brain is everything.
Don't leave your brain.
Don't leave your brain behind.
Dr. Eunice, a bit.
So ChatGPT is okay. I'm going to say it's sort of a disservice. Because everybody's using it and at school, and you can tell a document. That is what some millennials can do. You can tell a document because it's really so seamless in the way, in the thus, therefore, hence, however. But I think what we need to what I do with the young people, and I know I tell them do this thing, is to probe more, give the time. And when you're probing more is that you highlight what exactly, because the ChatGPT gives you the normal document. As a leader, you need to say, what exactly do you mean here? So you give them back to think. You highlight those areas. Sometimes they send you a document with X sort of X where they're supposed to put numbers. So you say, what exactly do you mean this? So you tell them that when you have a number like this, can you go deeper? You see? Can you go deeper and really break this number for me? Break it deeper and know. I want to know how many millennials, their tenure, what they've done in their performance, who rated them better. Can you show that graph? When the great trainee was moving from one organization to another, ChatGPT can't do that. So you need to know how to still engage them. Otherwise, if you don't have time, they're going to throw that document on you, and you'll carry that document to other meetings, and you'll look so embarrassed. Guide them that this is what I want to do. Like you said, the notes that you have done, those are scribbles that we do. But how do you put that across and make sense out of it? And that's why Martha used to tell you, put on your thinking cap. Make sense out of this. When you throw that to them, ChatGPT can't do that. So you have to go deeper to make sure that you go to operations and pick out what I am really trying to do to sort out here. When I'm talking about risk, the risk is attrition. But what is it? How are you talking about attrition? Go deeper. So when you engage them like that, they don't lose it. But of course, this one is a comfort zone for all of us. But it is for both the give of instructions and the person who is bringing instructions. Are you also ready to look at a document and know that this is not Mutsi thinking he's just in a hurry to go and have his vibes? He's what did you call it? SAS?
No, lit.
He's lit. To be lit. So we're almost concluding. I'm going to ask you one more question, and I'll ask Debbie, and then we shall bring to a close. Growing up, the career path was clear.
True.
Go, get a job, start as an officer, become a team leader, then you're head of department, manager, director, then you retire.
Yes.
In fact, MD and what was never
There.
in the question. It was just that if I'm in HR, I start as an officer, senior HR officer, principal HR officer, HR manager, maybe HR director, then I retire. But with your generation, it's not.
True.
So I want you to speak about that. Like, what is different? Why
Why are you in a hurry?
Yeah. That's not where I was going, but what are you rushing for?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's an age of breaking barriers, I would think. With the information age out there, we are seeing people challenging the norm on a daily, to the point that we are now even asking who is a man, and we are questioning everything and pushing the normal boundaries. It's a character trait now of the young people. What else can I achieve? What more can I get? And then when you think about probably your parents and what they were able to achieve, and you're like, I can do more, I can achieve more. And nowadays we even have people who are getting rich quick. The cryptocurrency, the forex exchange, the forex, that thing where when our minister said the money goes. Yes, that one. And so it's causing young people to be more on tension more. Am I not doing enough? How much more can I push myself? Is this job actually going to lead me to what I want to achieve? Probably I'm not in the right space, or these are not the right people. And since we are quicker to make those decisions without really taking time to think about them, we rush to. I even found out that there's a performance anxiety thing, where I'm like, probably they might fire me. Let me start looking elsewhere. Or probably I'm not good for this job. And then people start job hopping from one place to another. And bring it back to context. Why are we in a rush? Where are we going? Back to the information era, we are seeing people in the US retiring at 40, at 30, and multi-billionaires or multi-millionaires in the shortest time possible. Why can't I achieve that? What can I do right now to achieve that? I'm only making 1.2 million shillings. It will take me 40, 50 years to reach $500,000 US at this rate. So what am I going to do extra to make my way around? And so it's pushing young people to just break the barriers of the norm. We no longer really, young people are not valuing the process and don't see much value in the process. I look at the human resource manager and I'm like, what is she doing that I can't do? We don't look at the experience that the person has taken, the mental maturity it has taken them to be able to do the decisions that they're actually executing at this time. And we think, being a young person who has actually done that, at one point I thought, what are they doing that I can't do? And I was one time given a responsibility, and the way I dismantled things and things fell apart because I did have the experience, the exposure, and what it takes to actually maintain that. It was just much more than knowledge. It was much more than knowing that you can do, it was much more than being tenacious and resilient. There is much more to these things. And so I think that's one of the things that is pushing people to be there in that kind of space with all the information that's out there, that I can have 1 million followers on TikTok and my life can change in a blink of an eye. Why should I go for a normal job? Why should I go through the normal process? Yet there's a quicker way to achieving things. So we break the barrier, we break the processes, and it's becoming a disease of a sort in its own way.
One of the things that I thought about a scripture in the book of Proverbs. It says, a good name is better than fine perfume. But the thing that we young people don't understand is that building a good name takes time. You look at Mrs. Maitum here, and like, I can also be the head.
Yes.
Then they throw you some industrial relations case that you never handled. So it builds all these people we admire. It's taken time, and that's the thing. The impatience that comes. The microwave TikTok is fast. This is I can just post a video, and I have 10 million likes. Whereas my boss has appraised me negative. So you're like, there's that. So I think it's it's just for us to reflect and realize, like you've said, when you're not, it's an example I like to give. People who don't play football always think they play better than the players.
Yes.
You know, you're like, what's wrong with you people? Hey! You know, my husband's an Arsenal fan, so he's always quarreling with like Arteta, I don't know, Saka, I don't know what. But you're like, if I put you there, so many times because you're not in the thing, you think
it's easy.
Yeah, and it plays badly, let's say for the older generation, because maybe your boss does not know how to use ChatGPT. So for you feel like because you can use ChatGPT, the other person is wrong. Yeah, you're faster.
Yes.
So Debbie, I'm going to ask you the last question.
But I just wanted to
please.
talk about this of the young people being in a hurry. I think it is just unfortunate that, but also fortunate that the world now is just running fast and they found themselves here now. And the way, and I want to take this to a family orientation. The way we handle the children now is very important. I had a young man and he looks like Mutsi. So I've just looked at him and said, they could be relative. So he came to my office after working for 7 months and he says, I've broken all the barriers. I've done this, I've done this, I've done this. Why am I not a manager? Yeah. So, I mean, what can you tell me? It's not even a year.
True.
What you've given me, I've done and I've done extra. Why am I not moved to another band? So we had the chat. I said, sit down. So I said, yeah. So I said, the qualities of manager are this. Do you think you can handle this? He says, no. Life moves on. Yeah. So we went through a lot of talk and I really gave him my time and said, for you to be a manager, you need to understand this, you need to understand business, you need to understand strategy, you need to understand how to manage other people. You have this, you've just done this, but you've been a one-man show. As a manager, you have people under you.
True.
And you have now also something like an helicopter view from another leader to you. And accountability becomes a little bit bigger than now, because now you will not be waking up to yourself. What I think we should build a culture of inclusivity, because we need, and it has to start from the top. The CEO has to understand that everybody has something to bring on the table. Like we started from the beginning and saying, the millennials are good at emails, the other ones are good at WhatsApp, the other ones could be a content creator. How do you help her to understand this side? So having a culture that includes everyone, especially in decision making. Most organizations, we go to the C-suite and we just come and dump things there. And the best way is to involve everyone. Ask questions. Do what we call pulse checks. In those pulse checks, you pick up a lot of things. And then also, me as a person, I like the young people because anything you throw to them, they'll come up. Sometimes their dreams are in cloud nine. It is okay. But how do we bring them together and understand that that is where we are going now? You must be very good in understanding that. We must have trainings that run across for us to understand each other. We must have collaborations that we do together. We must have things like team building. Have Mutsi tell us about wellness, how they understand wellness. It's totally a different, because he doesn't know about many taxes at home. Tax for soap, tax for salt. He has not yet reached there. So he will tell us his story, but also tell them the other story they will understand. Communication is very important. And clarity on communication. Tell what it is. Yeah. In the banking industry, there's a lot of war on salaries. And somebody can just come and tell you, in this bank, they pay somebody of my role this amount. Whether they've got it, whether it is true, whether it's not, how will I react to it? I'll just go to that bank, No. You sit them down and understand where are they coming from. It could have been a bar talk. It could have been a football field talk. And Mutsi has just paused and said, I'm earning 5 million, but I'm a tailor. Yeah. It could be the nature of the bank. It could be the burns in the bank. It could be the heaviness of their pocket. So there are so many things that you have to understand. So don't brush them off. Yeah. Bring them to understand. This is our mandate. This is how we do it. For now, This is how we live. So we will live from here, and you will get there one day. Recognition is very good, but recognize and also reprimand. Yeah. Now, the young people fear to be reprimanded. I hope you've understood. They don't want to be told they are wrong.
Yes.
You become toxic.
Yes, now there's toxicity, there's all this.
Mental health. Mental health is
but they're also, they don't carry anger for long. So you reprimand and say, Emmanuel, this is wrong. This would have been, they will, but they'll come back and say, okay, I want to make it better. I've noticed that a lot, which is not with us. Us, we keep the anger for a very long time. So recognition is, but it must be now. Don't wait for end of month. Don't wait for
tally.
No. They want you to reprimand and recognize them now, but they also like to be appreciated. They don't want those things that come. They want you to go deeper. I was very happy the way you handled this client, particularly about this and this and this. This is really talking about our customer obsession, and it's what will inspire. So when you write something like that and email to them, they'll go and pin it on their desk. And that's what they will talk about. They're people who really appreciate to be recognized. Yes.
Awesome. I mean, everyone appreciates to be recognized.
Yes, but they want it in a special.
I like what you said about on the
But also recognizing. Millennials want you to recognize them with any step. So there's this, what we do in companies. If you've not performed well, you don't get salary increment or bonus. But they'll tell you, at least give me for effort. So you have to be very clear that we don't reward what?
Effort.
We reward results. But they want you to give them something, at least for effort. Much as I didn't excel, but give me this. They always want something from you. So what you do with that, you make that a short term. An appreciation, an email and all that. But also, encouraging them. How I would want to wish that we end the year well. How I pray that you excel so that we celebrate in the long run. Because it becomes, you must be part of it. You must be part of the business.
That's true.
Awesome. I mean, we could go on and on. Very nice conversation here. Mutsi, I want you to give me your parting shots in like 30 seconds.
Okay.
But after you give us the parting shots, right before this, did you know that there's something called the Gen Z Bible? Did you know? I had no idea. He has to read. But must give me your parting shots as you get.
Yes.
He needs to read you just one line, and you're going to be like, "What is this?" That's what we shall conclude with.
Yes.
But just give me your
parting shots. I like to say, Debbie has shared with us that we like to be understood, but also involving us in decisions. It is a key thing that empowers us. We feel we are seen, we feel our voice matters, and it's one of the things that young people nowadays are looking for in opportunities, in growth. Am I in position to have my say heard? Am I in position to have my idea pitched and someone actually has seen it? So being seen, and so it brings us back to the place of collaboration, being able to identify, I have this variance in my teams, how can I bring them together to work for a common goal, understanding each individual's differences, and then how to break them into what team where they will best perform, or where their strengths and weaknesses are merged to have a stronger team. Also being in a position, for example, to guide. We've talked about ChatGPT and all the different softwares that young people are coming to use, and it's making people more lazy. It's making people a little more relaxed, and we don't want to put on our thinking cap a lot. But being in the position that the millennials are, should be for a point to appreciate that these tools are there and not kick them out, to appreciate the change in the world, to appreciate how fast things are moving, and then to have that oversight in guiding and mentoring the young people to utilize these tools And I like how the president usually speaks. He begins with the history.
Mm.
In 1960 something, he takes you back to see where the root cause of the problem actually began. We want to be able to understand those things. Many of the times we are moving with what did I hear, what did I see, what is trending, and sometimes we take them as the fact. We don't want to fact check, right? So being in the position to actually guide and show us the background of things, that this is where this is coming from and this is where it ends. In particular, in terms of the technology, I hear people saying that the future is machines, right? But also now things like art are moving to make methods to still have human involvement in art, to have the human touch in work, to have the human presence in decisions. So how can we guide the young people to embrace those tools, but also to ensure that their personal trace is visible and is present within their work, within the tools that they're utilizing, so that they are able to synergize the tools, the resources, and be a better individual. I think those would be my parting shots.
Awesome.
Yes.
Thank you so much. He has to read for you that thing because now we're concluding. Did you want to say?
You have to read for me.
Yeah,
So
he needs to read
Yes.
for you Genesis 1. He read it before I came here and I said, what? What is this? Now you said that young people drive you crazy. You're about to be driven crazy for a very, very long time. But as Mutsi gets us that if you are listening to this and you are engaging and enjoying what we're talking about, please use the chat. I'm sure the admin will get back to you. So read for me.
So I have Genesis chapter 1.
Verse 1.
Verse
Hold
1.
your chair.
In the very start, God made the sky and the earth. So basically, at first, the earth was a hot mess. And it didn't have any structure or anything. Just emptiness and darkness all around. But then the Spirit of God started doing its thing. Cruising over the oceans. You know? Then God was like, yo, let there be light.
Just stop there because I'm like, what's this? Like God was like, what's this? Like God was like, anyway.
I the whole Bible for that.
Wow.
Do I have to do parting shots?
Yes, please, if you want.
Do I?
No, you don't have to. Me, I was concluding.
Okay,
So you cut off this part.
Which one?
Me saying me, I was concluding. Please.
Okay, I
Parting
think
shots.
my parting shots, Ruby, would be that multi-generational aspects, this nuance that we keep talking about. Age is just a number. I think it's a good thing. It comes with challenges, but it also comes with opportunities. And when done well, when the process are done well, when absorbed and embraced in a very good way, there's a lot of growth, diversity, and opportunities for all of us. It brings a lot of experience that is good for work. So we need to leave a legacy. And so this brings a lot of things that even in the future, even the Gen Zs are going to tell the Gen Alphas where they came from. So it's a good thing and we should embrace it and support it and make sure we don't look at any age as being different. But we are all here for one goal, to grow in our organizations.
All right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Debbie. Thank you, Mutsi. Age indeed is just a number. We should not let it be a barrier. We should not let it be something that would hinder the employees' journey. So we need to support our employees in the different organizations because it's not your fault you were born in 2002. It's not your fault you were born then and whatever. So how do we as leaders, as organizational heads, as people and culture leaders, bring all this together to make sure that the organizations are moving forward. So age actually is just a number, but how we move with it, with character, with our competences, and how at the end of the day we leave a lasting legacy. So I've had a good time sitting with you. Once again, this is the People and Culture Chronicles Podcast. So go ahead and like the YouTube channel, the HR Fun House. We will be back in the subsequent weeks. But make sure you click the notification bell so that you'll be notified every time that we go live. Once again, my name is Ruby and have a good time. Bye.
Ciao.
Bye.